When I won the award, they call my name to come on stage, call my name again, call my name again. I'm not there. I'm actually at home crying my eyes out, asking the God that I didn't know if I could die. So like when I was at like what people would perceive to be the pinnacle of my career, that's when I was at my lowest. I left because it had destroyed my life. I had created this plausible reality around me being able to sell myself for sex. And I continued living my life. That was who I was. And I isolated myself from family and friends because I felt ashamed. And I felt like my life didn't have any value or purpose. And like, how could I be a good son? How could I be a friend? My brother is a genetics professor. And I remember one of his 15 graduations, people at the graduation like recognized me. And I remember just how humiliating that was because I was there. My little brother had achieved something that he had been working. He had achieved that. And then people were like, oh, you're that guy. And it was like, man, that's not why I'm here. It just felt like really like humiliating. And that was like one of the last times I talked to my family for quite some time because I just couldn't deal with the fact that that's who I was and that's how people saw me. That was what was the major catalyst for the depression because I was already dealing with the fact that you don't do something like that and not feel some type of guilt in your subconscious.
Actually, I was listening to one of your interviews and you were talking about feeling guilty before you became a Christian. And I was like thinking in my own life, I didn't feel guilty. I stripped for 8 years. By the end of it, I was definitely like over it. I felt like I was better than it. I felt like I was like the court jester coming out to entertain. And I remember hating it, but it wasn't really guilt, I don't think. However, after I became a Christian and I actually backslid a few years. I heard you say something that I related to where you talked about looking in the mirror and not like the person that you saw looking back. And I was definitely related to that. But that was after I became a Christian.
There were a multitude of times where God had provided me with, don't do that. And then I did it anyway. But for me, I think it's just a sexual encounter is supposed to be intimate. It's supposed to be in the confines of love and it's an expression of love. A sexual encounter became so monotonous to me. It didn't matter. It was my job. I could do it with anyone, anything. It didn't matter. That like really had an impact on me mentally and emotionally, where looking someone in the eye and shaking their hands was so uncomfortable. That was so much more intimate than having sex with someone for me.
I get it, man. Yeah. I had a lot of casual sex in my life. Probably, I don't want to get into numbers, but it was hundreds of one night stands. I was numb to the act. I always wanted to do it because it became an addiction, but sex was like a massage, I used to say. To me, it was like, it feels good, do it. Why would we wait? I was listening to what you said in one of the your interviews about that stuff that you would inject into your penis. Because was it really that difficult to get it up, like with these girls?
So that was when I was doing like gay porn. For me, like this is the point where I was at. So I didn't want to be in the industry anymore. I just won the award and I was like, gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. And I quickly found out that it was actually more detrimental to my mental and emotional health. And that's when I really felt like I was going to hurt myself. And I had that moment where it's just, I can't keep doing this. There's nothing else I can do. I might as well die. So that's where I was. So for me, it's who cares? All the industry is dark, but gosh, like two guys are sitting there taking drugs for paraplegic people to have sex with one another, watching like straight porn in the background, cutting like every 30 seconds just so that you can get this footage so that you can continue living your life because you don't believe that there's anything outside of it. That was where my life was. I wasn't like a sex addict anymore because sex was never the thing that I was desiring. I never did porn because I wanted to have a lot of sex because I was already doing that. Me, it was like fame, affirmation, awards, notoriety. I wanted to be an actor. So I had these opportunities to do like Star Wars and all this stuff. I did all these projects and I kept lying to myself and believing it's like, this is just a way, this is just going to be who I am. This is just going to be my life. And that's just how it is. And I just have to accept that this is the best version of my life. There's nothing that's going to be outside of it. This is as good as it's going to get. Just enjoy it. And I would tell myself that lie that just be happy, but I never could. I put on the mask every day and tried to be the person that was glad. I would always show up on time. I was responsible. I did all these things. And my story is such an anomaly when it comes to like how I got in the industry, because most people, they were like either manipulated or forced, or they needed money, or they didn't really understand that like it was a porn scene, or it was like a guy who had the ability to do it, and he just started dating someone and they got them in the industry. But for me, it's, I never like saw myself, man, I want to do porn. I had an agent and I was working on projects and I wanted to be an actor, but I was having more success modeling. I was working at like a bar slash steakhouse to supplement my income. I was doing the same thing that everyone else in Hollywood was. I was going to gigs, I was going to auditions, I was working a job to supplement my income. It was going well. Like there was no reason for me to say yes to that. I met a group of girls at that job and they said, hey, do you want to be an actor? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, just let us introduce you to our agent. And they introduced me to their agent. But the thing was, the agent they introduced me to was the agent in the industry. So it got plugged in and I said yes to doing it. And he told me, you can be famous, you can be rich, you can do all these things. It was just like speaking to this insecure person that had no clue who he was. No solidified purpose in life, no like tangible goals that I was like pursuing. It's just like, I want to be an actor.
Yeah.
So like when he said all these things, I was like, sure. And then I was hesitant about it and I felt guilty about it. And there was a time where I was just like, I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I did it. And he signed me to a contract. And it was like, there was never like a struggle. It was like immediate fame.